welcome back to the show.
Hey.
So, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I went through a really big life transition.
She did.
I went through a really big life transition. I saw this funny reel where it was like, women in your 30s, you're either going to make the choice of having having children's, what the fuck, having children or getting bangs. And if you make the choice of getting bangs, they are arguably harder than the actual children. And, I was like, you know what? I'm going to full send it anyway. I've been feeling like I want to get bangs and now I have bangs. This is the first day. I'm not going to turn my head to the side anymore. This is the first time I am here styling them myself. And I was telling Chris before we hopped on, before they looked beautiful. I actually thought I did, I blew out with because, I was doing all my research. I got my sleep with a little curler at night. I had my little round brush. I was looking at how to do the things and I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared. And when I styled them for the first time today, I was like, wow, she did great. Granted, they're turning out more as curtain bangs. And I think that's just what we're doing for now because I can't figure out how to bring it forward.
They're
These
versatile.
They're versatile, right? I mean, low key, even when I first got them, I was like, well, look, I was like, oh, there she is. She's back. She's back. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm still here. Everything's fine. Everything's okay. But 5 minutes before I decided to record this podcast, I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I want to touch them up real quick. I'm going to bring the straightener. Horrible idea. Even though I watched this YouTuber do an incredible job, I decided to take a risk. God forbid a girl takes a risk and decides to straighten out this little part of her little bangs, and I really fucked him up. It's just gonna be what it is, and hopefully I already touched my hair consistently over and over again on this podcast, and now I feel like I'm gonna be spending the majority of my time fixing them now, but this is Megan 2.0 with my little
They
bangs.
look great. They look great. When you sent me that picture the other day, I was like, wow.
I know y'all have to follow me on Instagram. Because I posted on Instagram. Well, when I got myself in that sun, I was like, oh, she's glowing. Oh, yes. She's ethereal. Oh, because I also think too, I don't know if it's the red, being closer to my eyes, but I'm like, oh, my eyes are green now. I've always had hazel eyes, but I'm like, oh, my eyes are green now. It seems.
Yeah.
Not mad. I'm not mad about it.
At all.
And we also have our cute we decided to continue this little vibe, I feel like, of recording in the evenings and our little jams because I loved our Iron Flame episode.
Yes, it comes out tomorrow, and I'm really excited. I think it's our best episode yet, which is so amazing because it was an episode that I feel like we had a little bit more anxiety thinking about recording. It's just a big book, lots to cover, and we had a lot of fun. It's still light out here, which the summer is coming. But yeah, I agree. I love this nighttime sipping wine kind of thing. And I too have made a change to my body. Maybe I need to stand up for the video.
Stand for the video. Look at that beaut. Look at that beaut on her bookish arm, it seems. Is that going to become your bookish arm?
This is going to be my bookish arm. So this tattoo, in case you're listening, is a crown with flowers growing out of the crown. More like the wildflower look. It is inspired by Throne of Glass. I will not go into the meaning behind it because we tend to like to spoil Throne of Glass and have to make lots of cuts and edits to take it out. But yes, it has to do with Throne of Glass. And I think, which Megan and I got tattoos together last year when we went on our book trip and read Kingdom of Ash. So I think I'm done with Throne of Glass in terms of tattoos. But yes, the goal is to make this left arm of mine have little images from all my favorite books. So that's
I love it. I love it. I know. I'm so proud of us for not spoiling Throne of Glass this episode. I think we did a good job. We did a good job. It's so funny. I also want one more Throne of Glass tattoo, kind of just to like round out the ones that we got. I don't know why they feel like, I think because we literally, I mean, y'all, we had to speed read Kingdom of Ash, which is low key kind of impossible to do. There's literally so much that happens in that book, but I mean, even probably should have started it a little earlier. Didn't think about it. Didn't think anything of it. But of course, we started like the most intense book ever and decided to read that together, with the intention of at the end of this trip getting tattoos. But obviously, we're not dumb. So we're like, we need to finish this book first before we plan on getting whatever tattoo that we're going to get. So like we literally like finished Kingdom of Ash like 2 hours before, and then like immediately hit the road
got
to
in the
drive to
car.
our tattoo appointment.
And then was like, yeah, sure, permanent decision. This is what I want.
Yeah. Also, like that tattoo shop too, it was so overstimulating.
I'm so proud of us for even getting like tattoos because there was so many people. It was like, here, what do you want? And it was like this guy, bless his heart, he could not understand
What we wanted. It was just, meanwhile, I do all this work trying to like find, and it was really hard. We're in college, like we were staying outside of Breck. So we drove a little bit closer to Denver. I tried my best, but I only got so far on Instagram and like, yeah, bless his heart, but he wasn't understanding, I think, like the vibe. He wasn't our
Yeah.
artist. Does
Right.
that make
And so
sense?
yeah, and we just had to make decisions in the moment, and whatever the vibe was in there, like there were so many people, and like just like how he was like kind of presenting like his vibe, the idea of taking a few minutes to make a decision did not feel welcome. It
Dude,
was
it
like
really wasn't. It really wasn't.
so
Like we're so cute. We're in our like Throne of Glass t-shirts.
yeah.
Like we're in our book merch. We're like, and meanwhile, we were a little late. Yes, because unfortunately, I am a slow reader and I had to finish the fucking book before hitting the road. Oh my god. And so it took me a little longer than expected that the morning of. Yeah. And so like what I thought going into it, what he wound up doing, we couldn't take literally 3 seconds to make a decision. I was so overwhelmed, but like we did great. They turned
We
out
did.
great.
And I don't
But
regret
yes,
what
they're
I
a little
got.
unfit. They were unfinished works of
Yeah.
art, if that makes sense.
Right. So now we've had like more time to just like look back fondly on the time and like think about the things that have really stuck with us like months later. And
Yeah.
so it's now I feel complete, I think, in that department. So yeah, you're just gonna have to go back and get your
Oh my
do
god.
you
Well, now that
still
I found my girl that did this piece, I'm like, I'm going to her
yeah.
now forever.
I do wonder though, I won't say the phrase because again, spoilers, but like you wanted to get a phrase or like a word. Are
Yeah.
you happy that you didn't, or do you still want that word?
No, I'm happy that I didn't.
Good, good,
I'm happy that I didn't. I'm happy that I
good.
didn't. Just because I've already been burnt. Like my first ever tattoo is a word, and it is in like literally the worst font ever. Like again, I mean, this isn't to say anything. I've gotten tattoos since I was 18 years old, and like can I admit looking back that they have gotten better with age? Yes. Will I pass the knowledge on to my daughter that like maybe we want to wait until the frontal lobe is fully developed? Yes. Um that doesn't mean that anyone that has tattoos are I have so my tattoo that is a word is low key the worst tattoo. It's so ugly, and it is just continue to, like, fade out, and that word now looks like a gross blob, and it was already a bad font just of the times. Think of, like, a font that would have been cute in, like, 2011, and I'd really think on that and realize that it's definitely not cute anymore. The placement isn't cute. So, I'm really happy that I did it, though sometimes do I see the cutest word tattoos on Pinterest.
Yeah.
Abso-fucking-lutely. Absolutely. But I think I'm gonna just stick to art.
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna stick to art moving forward. So I do stand by that, but I think it still needs work. So I'm gonna head to my girl because that was when I went to the girl that I just had for this piece, it was just me and her. She was playing like calming, like jazz. I almost fell asleep in the chair, which
Mhm.
is like to me, not heard of.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my God, this is what it's like when you're not like overstimulated, being pressured to make like the decisions like right now because he's trying to go to the concert at Red Rocks. You know
Right.
what I mean?
I forgot about that, yeah.
Yeah. Like he's like, oh yeah, like y'all are my last folks. Like I'm trying to get out of here, go to Red Rocks. I'm like, I love this for you. I understand this is another day in the life for you. It's same thing. I think it's just because these artists are doing this every day. It's just like
Yeah,
another casual thing.
that's it.
And I was explaining this to you when I went to the dermatologist, and they're like cutting things off of my face, and now I have marks all over my body from because they decided to freeze off all of my skin tags from the neck down, and now I have all this shit all over my body. Like it was a regular Tuesday afternoon, and I walk out, and I'm like, I look like I just got like attacked on all fronts. I realized that again, this was another casual day for you. This was I left feeling very raw and very vulnerable.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not technically what we were going to talk about today, even though this is a fun buffer episode. No book reviews because we are still reading Onyx Storm, but we did want to just give like a little life update and kind of talk about like the ups and downs of the creative process and all of that and just how like life has been going for us creatively. Besides the tattoo, Chris, I really want to hear about your experience with the conference that you went to a few weeks back.
Yeah. A few weeks ago, I went to something, in my state called the Breath and the Clay, Arts Conference. When 2025 came around and I was thinking about, like, goals for the year, something that I really wanted to do this year was lean more into my creative side and my artistic side, explore different mediums or like new mediums because I've always been drawn to art and artists and like, I've written a lot in the past and have wanted to get back to that spot that I used to like. I really would pick up the pen and just like it was like the words would just come out faster than like I could write. And it's been a really long time since I've felt like I was in that place. So, anyway, this year I just really wanted to kind of like foster that creative side of me again. And so, The Breath in the Clay is something that I've had my eye on for a few years and, just pulled the trigger this year because honestly, I've not let myself go every year because I'm like, I don't qualify. Like, what's my thing? Am I really an artist? Like, I don't paint, I don't sculpt, I don't songwrite. Um, and I'm really glad that I did go because one, I did not feel imposter syndrome whatsoever. I felt like a sense of belonging with other people and like within myself for the first time in a long time. But anyway, it was set up as, like, there was, like, art galleries, there was different sessions where everyone would be together in one room hearing people talk, whether it was, like, art historians or poets or painters, and then they'd have these, like, mini sessions that you could go to and sign up for based on, like, what you were interested in. And so, yeah, it was just 3 days of art and being inspired and being encouraged and, like, really thinking about where do I go from here? And yeah, I think the one main thing that, I would wanna bring up that was, like, a takeaway for me was Stephen Roach, the person that ran it. He said he was talking about when you're afraid that the ordinary parts of you will ruin or take away from the creative you, and how a lot of times we have this idea that our creative self is our extraordinary self, but our ordinary life, like, is always taking away, like, that person that we wanna be or, like, the things that we wanna be spending our time with because, like, they're like, "No, that's me." Like, if I just had the time or resources to do this thing, like, that's actually me. Um, and he was like, "What if we looked at it like that it's all part of the creative journey? And what if you looked at, like, your entire life from, like, a heaven's eye view or a bird's eye view looking down as, like, one big piece of art where, you just have these, like, different chapters and different iterations and, like, different things." So, I think for me, that's definitely something that I've always struggled with, is feeling like there's ordinary me, and then there's, like, ideal me, and there's, like, creative me, and, like, I'm not her right now, and how do I get back to being her? And so, just being around a bunch of people that, like, feel the same way, honestly. And being like, "No, it's actually, like, ordinary you is also part of the artist." Um, yeah, there's a lot that about that weekend that was special, but those are just some thoughts.
No, I mean, that's really big, right? Because one, even your like, the way that you were even thinking about going in the first place, being like, "Oh, like, do I even qualify?" is, like, such a real thing, right? Like, I feel like
Yeah,
when you say that you're an artist, people, myself included, like, love to, like it needs to be, like, categorized into something, like, very, like, tangible, like a painter, sculptor, like, a prophetic writer, and, like,
right.
all of that, like, stuff. Meanwhile, like, we're all creative beings, we're all co-creating all the time, and so, like, one, letting yourself just go and be in that space is huge already, and then also I think dealing with some of that, like 'cause I think that's so relatable, right? Just, like, understanding and seeing the difference of being that creative self and the ordinary self, or feeling like the everyday, like, getting bogged down by the day to day, I feel like really, like, at least for me, I feel like wears on that creative self. I feel like, or even like my big limiting belief is like, well, I only do my best like work and my best writings in the morning. And if I
Mhm.
don't write in the morning, I'm not a creative girl today. Like, I can't
Yeah,
access it, I can't do it. And like, I guess like I'm just like not, it's only like, meanwhile, like that's not actually true, right? Like, I can't, just because it's not happening during like the certain particular time of the day, or we're doing this certain act, means that we're not any more or less. And I love looking at it from that bird's eye view, because also I feel like art in general is inspired by like the everyday life, right?
yeah,
Like, I mean, even like the stories that we read are based off of like very real life struggles and healing journeys and arcs, and from those like very human 3D experiences of life. And so like it's really interesting to like view them as such separate things, because they're always kind of feeding each other. Um And so now how do you feel kind of coming out of that weekend?
I think there's a lot that I still need to process. There was a lot of great messages, and just, like, great talks, and I was, like, writing notes, like, ferociously, and so even looking back on some of them today, I was like, "I really need to just, like, go through each of these and, like, process it out." I think just changing my priorities, um
In what way? Sorry, the 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 healer in me is starting to dig in. Dig
Oh
in.
gosh. Um, yeah, well, definitely I know I left being like, "I wanna be a poet now." It was just this one thing that I was, like, mesmerized by over the weekend, something that, like, I don't get, honestly, like, I don't get poetry at all. I admire people who write it, and I admire people who understand it, but, like, I don't get it. I'm like, "Say what you mean." Um, Even though my prose, I guess, is leans more poetic, I feel like they can get married and I can, like, make something, but, that's just something that's, like, been on the back of my mind. Have I tried it? No. I've had, I would say, writer's block, interestingly, since I've come home and, had moments where I'm feeling a little bit misaligned and, like, I'm, like, grasping at straws for, like, these moments of, um, feeling aligned and then not and trying to, and I think, honestly, I just need to prioritize by spending more time doing creative things, and like you mentioned to me last week, like, create for creating sake, is something that I feel like I need to be doing. I also, without getting too much into the weeds, I do think that there's a part of me that has known that I need to be partnering with, like, more of, like, a divine spirit or what I would call God as, like, creator, and, like, link up and, like, create, like, knowing that I'm part of a bigger story, because I've been ignoring that side of me for a while for many reasons that we won't get into today, but, um,
Really? You don't wanna get into your religious trauma today on this podcast?
I mean, where's where's the wine pile? Um, but just I think I've had an idea of God, and, um I left that conference feeling like art is a way that the idea of God can be expressed in a more wild and colorful and exciting and lovely way rather than what is being presented right now through the people that call him, her, whatever.
Capital H.
Listen, I'm being so cryptic, but I'm like, I can't start. I can't
No, no,
start. But
you're
yeah,
so good.
just yeah. Uh, and I
You're, like, holding on to the chair for dear life, I feel
no,
like.
listen, this is a thing that I've been trying to work through in a Substack post right now that I cannot finish because every day that I go to it, it changes. By the time this episode comes out, I hope that this Substack is posted. It will be about sunflowers, and hopefully by then I will be able to articulate that if you're interested. But, um, yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm currently working through that, we'll get into too in a little bit. But before that, I do wanna hear about you and what you're working on, and you had some exciting things other than the bangs happen during the weekend.
I'm like, "More than the bangs?" Well, first, before I go to me, I do wanna say how honestly, like, really beautiful that revelation is. I know how much you have been kind of moving through this your own healing journey when it comes to your spirituality and just kind of trying to marry the two. I know for me as well, like that was kind of one of my biggest things. And even going from like my very, as I just shared with the pun, like my, my intuitive healer coach self likes to ask questions and gets a little deeper. And we did get a little deeper, but not to the point where it's too uncomfortable, where Chris was literally like wanting to crawl out of her skin. She almost did, but she did it. And so thank you for putting up with me.
Bits are
But
sweaty, but that's about it.
it's like, oh my God, it's really hot in here. But for me too, I think that was one of my biggest shifts. Like I went from being like, back before 2020, I grew up super Catholic, then went to like, ew, absolutely no for me, to then flipping the script went hella spiritual, but not in the Catholic way, but in like the universe witchy way. And then, and my old writing used to be very much like how I believed was like channeled.
Yeah.
I don't have to say, I just shouldn't put quotes on there because that's really unfair to me in my practice. So I'm gonna not do that. I'm sorry to me. I'm sorry to myself. But that's how I used to, we used to have similar prose where I'd also write, I wouldn't call myself a poet, but it'd be very like poetic, lyrical-esque writing through these
Mhm.
channeled messages that I truly believe was like channeled from spirit. And it was really interesting because it really took me in obviously one of the most incredible directions of my life. And, but then when I hit my most recent rock bottom, because definitely been there more than once, that I also started experiencing the writer's block, and I was trying to like marry these two people, like human Megan and spirit Megan. And now I started writing something completely different, and I was writing fiction, and I didn't know how that related to what I used to write, but that was all that was kind of coming out of me. And I was like, oh, this is really interesting. This is just like the way that, you know, my spirit and like my essence wants to be channeled through. And like, it's really interesting because when I am writing, though, like, yes, it's actually really funny. Shout out to Emily. Emily sent us a polo the other day and she was like, what is your writing process? Like, did you, um, like, was it just, people call it pantsers, where they are just like writing from pure vibes, no outline, no anything. And originally it did start like that, and then I was like, this is really fucking hard. Shout out to all the pantsers out there that can write like that. I eventually needed an outline. But even within the outline, I noticed that like, when I write in the mornings, yeah, I have the general direction where I know where I'm going, but the things that come out I'm always, like, shocked by, or even, like, the characters that even start to come through. I remember chatting with you, I'm like, "Oh my god, this new character came in, I wasn't expecting him at all, and, like, this is really exciting, I think it, like, changes the whole thing," and I was like, "Oh, I think this is just, like, my new way of how I am channeling from spirit,
Mhm.
from my God, universe, whatever you wanna call it." And I used to think it had to look a certain way. And I think when you realize that it actually doesn't have to look anyway, it's more of about the feeling itself. And that's
Yeah.
when I realized I was like, oh, this is the same feeling that I used to have when I was channeling. And again, not knowing where the words were coming from or what the messages really meant, but knowing that it was all meant to be said to somebody somewhere. It was just the new way of how it was being brought forward. And it's really interesting that you're exploring that too, because it's been really helpful for me to even kind of have those moments to be like, okay, well, no, I didn't totally forget this side of myself, though I'm, you know, working a full-time job again and I'm doing all this stuff. Like, no, she's still here. Yes, I'm writing fiction, but like it's just being it's just being executed in a different way.
Yeah.
And with all of my stuff to then lead into me, yeah, it's been really interesting. I feel like there's definitely been like highs and lows, right? I got the bangs, and then immediately the next day I had a shoot at my house which I'm a Leo. So for those that are new here, that is not something new for me. I low key get a photo shoot like at least twice a year, and everyone should. Like, think of it as like your own little grown up picture day. I truly believe that like everyone should experience that, even if it's like it's just for you, but it's like I don't know, it's these beautiful moments in time that you're documenting, and yeah, I'm a Leo, so that's like not a surprise there because we low key love the spotlight and we love a good photo shoot. So I had a photo shoot, and this is my first one that was a little bit more author forward, book forward, because I'm doing this big rebrand on my website and where like it's getting less energy healer, more like spirit. Still spirit, I still got my birth charts on both of my main characters. So
Mhm.
we still we still practice that, but it's definitely like more author forward. It was very much me. I didn't have any like not like anything like crazy nature backgrounds and like crazy dresses or anything. Like it was just so low key. My beautiful friend Angela, shout out to Angela because she'll be listening to this too. And her husband came over, and she's also my book bestie. My local book bestie that introduced us to Paradise Problem. Thank you.
Oh,
And our and our she actually has a great thriller recommendation for us when we do want to go do that as like a really big palate cleanser. I was like, okay, period. I'm into it. Anyway, I'm getting really sidetracked. The whole point is that I had that this weekend, and I think it was just this weekend was really interesting for me because I felt like a lot of big things. Like I changed my physical appearance, and then I had this photo shoot, and I got these pictures back, and I was like, oh my god. Um, it was very much giving Mulan. Like, who is that girl I see staring straight back at me? Like, am I full sending this way too hard to the point? Because I tend to do that. I tend to
mm,
do that where when I go through a very big change in my life, I really full send. And right now, I haven't even written the end on my first draft. And there's parts where I'm like, okay, did I just like, am I going through this whole rebrand? And I'm doing all this stuff. And I'm talking about, I was chatting with you the other day about pen names. I'm like, do I use a pen name? I don't think so. Literally everyone knows that I'm writing a book anyway, like even my employer. So like it's I just feel and I'm like, does a pen name even matter if it's garbage anyway? Like I feel like sometimes originally this project started as like something for me to get out of my own head and to actually help me process like what was going on in my life and this really big transition I was going through from like a girl that really tried her best and took a risk and launched a business and was coming to terms with that it wasn't necessarily working out the way that she wanted. And this project was supposed to be like a little internal like something for me, and then of course I'm like in it and I'm like, well, actually, I think this story is actually really awesome, and I think it could be published. And so I feel like right now I'm going through a little bit of like just the imposter syndrome of like, okay, well now I literally told everyone. I told everyone now I'm doing this. So now I have to do it. Now I have to. I don't have to do anything. I know that I don't have to do anything, but obviously I'm going to. Obviously. Creative 101 is like if it's not going to come through you, it's going to come through someone else. And I
yeah,
will literally throw myself into the middle of the ocean if another person comes out with like, that the story that's meant to be me. You know what I mean? Even though
yeah,
I write in contemporary romance. So it's not like this is the first story that's ever written. But it's the first story from my voice, from who I am. So I feel like that's kind of what I'm moving through. Like, am I wasting my time? Is this actually all garbage? Am I doing all of the like it's my first book. Should I have told everyone about it? So that's what I'm moving through.
yeah. I mean, I think that totally makes sense, and I think because you're kind of, like, well, when you're, like, at the end and you're almost done, like, "Oh my gosh, this is done," then, like, "Then what?" And, you know, then it's at a stage where it has to be in people's hands. Then it's at a stage where other people have to read it. Then it's at a stage where it's, like, vulnerable to critique or advice or edits and all these things. So I think probably that anxiety might be creeping up. I don't know, I can't speak for you, but I know that you love it. I know that you love writing it, and I know that you love your story. So I think savoring that as the goal and not thinking about, "Oh, is this thing that I'm creating going to turn into something great?" Right? Because it's so easy to look at what we're doing now or doing for the first time, being like, "Is it gonna trend? Is it gonna get picked up? Is it gonna get published? Am I gonna have to do this on my own?" Um, so I think if maybe we just as creatives, like when we're doing something creative, um, cannot think about the greatness scale of what the end product is, but like also know, sounds cliche, it's about the journey, it's about the creative process. It's like all these things that like we are being honest with ourselves and honoring ourselves by doing something that we believe in. Um, so, I don't know. I think a photo shoot, maybe you might say like, "Oh, it's too much," but I think it's like a little like act of like faith. Like, I am stepping into this thing, like I'm being bold and I'm saying like, "This is what I wanna do." So, and I think you need some of that energy to actually be successful, you know?
Totally, totally, right? And I really appreciate you saying because that's something that I realize it within myself, and I talk to Jason about it all the time. I'm like, "I'm getting caught up in the result. I'm getting caught up in the result again." Like, I'm not letting myself actually enjoy the act of creating. I'm not at the end yet, but, like, I'm already making myself think about, like, this, that, and the third. We're like, "Oh, do I wanna traditionally publish? Do I wanna self-publish? Oh my god, do I should I do a pen name? Like, do I not do
Yeah.
that?" Like, thinking about all these other things that, like, right now I don't actually need to worry about because the only thing I need to worry about is getting my words onto the page, and, like, luckily that has been happening, and, like, that's been exciting because with all, like, the travel and stuff that I was moving through, like, it definitely I feel like it's so hard once my my routine is that I write every morning. That's first thing in the morning. 'Cause that's when my brain is the freshest, and, like, once I start doing any administrative task, the creative kinda, like she just dwindles. My brain gets really tired, and the last thing I'm a morning girl. Once, like, the evening hits, I'm trying to be horizontal. And that is why I do believe understanding your astrology and human design is so important when it comes to being a creative, so you can actually understand how you work and not make yourself feel bad about it. But I feel like
Um,
it's so hard, like, when I am traveling and I'm kinda out of that rhythm, getting back into it, I get so in my head about, like, "Oh my god, like, is this even good?" Now I'm like because I'm 3/4 of the way in, I'm like and I'm 75 I'm over 75,000 words at this point, which is crazy. I thought I was gonna end around 80. I'm not anywhere close to the actual ending. So, that's also crazy. I think I'm gonna maybe end up maybe somewhere, like, in, like, the 90 range,
mhm,
low like, high 80s, 90 range. But even like, I think that's, like I think you're right, like, the anxiety just coming from, like, "Oh my god," like, I'm getting really close, but I'm not close yet. When I kinda get out of it, I get really in my head then about, like, getting in it. But I do agree that, like and believe that, like, as a creative, you need a routine that is not
yeah,
based off of inspiration, which is why I do first thing in the morning, that's my thing. Because at
yeah,
least and I don't have a word I used to have, like, a word goal, like, I'd write 500 words every morning, which I realized for, like, the writers out there, that's not that much. But I only have an hour. I have an hour a day. And so And sometimes I don't even reach 500 anymore. This morning I did over 1,000. So it's like you just never know like the vibe that you're in. But like for me, like if I'm even writing down a sentence, it's at least better than not writing at all. But I think what I sometimes get stuck in is like because I'm only writing an hour a day, I feel like I'm in the same like I'm not getting through my plot points as
Mm,
quickly as
mhm.
I want to. So I feel like I've been in this era for so long. I'm like, get me the fuck out of here. Get
Yeah,
me out of here.
that
Like,
makes sense.
but like, but I can't get out of here because the things haven't happened yet. Okay, guys, see what just happened? I just fucked with my bangs and now they're doing now they're doing crazy things. But look to this I'm at the side. See that? I'm like a unicorn. Which is why we just gotta stay front. Anyway, but I appreciate you saying that. And that's what I have to remember. It's like I keep getting bogged down in the result of it all. And being a creative really isn't about it. And I think I also have a really big fear about failing publicly again
Mm,
because I feel like that's kind of what just not that it was a failure. Like again, I realize it's language and semantics, but it's like the feeling behind it. It's like I did this really big thing and I put my name and my time and money into this thing and I'm about to do that again. And yes, there's that part where it's like yeah, you do have to put your money where your mouth is. Like, yeah, Meg, you go step into that era of getting that fucking photo shoot because you are an author. Even if no one buys your fucking book, you still wrote the fucking book. Not
mhm.
everyone writes the book. So, like, at least you did. And, like, you know what? If it doesn't happen now, I just keep remembering Sarah J. Maas. Like, I never heard of Sarah J. Maas up until
Yeah,
last year. Like, and then even that, like, she wrote Throne of Glass at fucking 16. And to me, she didn't even like take off really. Like the book everyone was talking about was Akatar.
yeah.
So it was like, it's like, wow, like you can have this whole body of work and no one will know about it until like maybe that one book, you know? And so that's just like the one thing that I keep having to remind myself. It's like, Meg, like fucking relax and like enjoy the process of writing because it is going to be the end soon. And then you know what I'm gonna have to do? Edit my life away until I absolutely hate everything that I wrote and I think everything is stupid. And then luckily Chris will be there to remind me that it's not stupid. And then
It's
and that it doesn't suck as bad as I think it does. And everything's gonna be okay.
well, it's very exciting. It's very exciting. I mean, writing a book that's so huge, to be able to say like, "I wrote a book." Yeah. I think it's just really exciting.
I know.
And
I know.
it'll land too, like, when, like, there's, like it'll land when it's, like, supposed to, like, it will come into the world and, like, get in people's hands, like, at the exact moment it's supposed to, because you wouldn't want, like, your book to come out in a time where it's, like I don't know, I feel because, like, we're more, like, connected with up, down, like, we're
With
just
you no,
we
divine
just
timing,
like, an
right?
intuitive yeah, exactly, thank you. Thank you for giving me the words as I was vomiting over myself, but, like, the divine timing of, like, this is coming out when it's, like, supposed to, so even if there's that idea of, like, "Oh my gosh, I can't get out of this scene, like, how much longer is this gonna take?" You know, it's it also, like, that timeline could be protecting you too, you know?
Period. Period. I can't agree more. And it's again when you're in the weeds, I think it's like probably one of the hardest things to remember, but it is so true. Like everything happens in divine timing. And when you can like let your ego kind of like have her little meltdown about not being exactly like where you think you need to be at the moment and realize like actually um everything's going to happen exactly as it's meant to. And when we are writing and channeling in our own way, that's happening in the pace that it needs to happen. And like also like what's the rush? What's the
Mhm.
rush? And that's what my other big thing too. Like I'm always trying to like rush to the finish line or I was looking into this like this writing program, and like their biggest thing was like, write your novel in 30 days. I'm like, I'm not writing my novel in 30 days. Like I, I'm gonna be honest, like that's not happening. And like I was on a call with like one of their like salespeople, because like what I liked about it was like, oh, like they have the editors and the cover artists and the platforms to help you like format when you go to like self-publish, right? So I think that's what I decided that I'm going to do is self-publish, because it's my first novel. I'm not trying to I don't know. I just can't even like think to like fathom like then what I think I'm like wasting my time now than like going through like querying and all of that. I just for at least this one that feels so personal, I just don't think it's something that's going to be like sold. I don't know if that makes actually any sense. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that originally this program that they were like offering, like everything was like in-house, which was really nice because for me, I love a one-stop shop. The same way with clothing. Like I want to get everything at one store. The same way with grocery shopping too. I
Yeah.
want to get everything at one store. I'm not trying to go to like 3 different grocery stores to get my things. I want to go to one place and get everything that I need there and then fucking bounce. That's what I want. But however, like the way that they were talking was like, oh yeah, like the way you're writing right now, like you can definitely write. You can write and get yourself published. Because I was like, maybe like this time next year, maybe 2 years. They're like, oh my God, you can get yourself published in like 6 months. And I'm like, or like, she's like, you can get yourself like done with your novel like, in 1 month. I'm like, girl, no. Like, I'm sorry. Like, absolutely fucking not. One, I think it was a giant big scam. Two, I just don't think art works like that. And I mean,
Yeah.
like, I know a lot of the indie artists like do work because like their big thing is like obviously like volume, right? And because there is something to say, like, you have a giant backlog, you have one book that fucking hits. And yeah, I am gonna read your whole backlog. I mean, we just discovered Christina Lauren, and like now we're diving into their backlog, and it's huge. So
Yeah.
like it's amazing for folks that like have that within them. But I think I have to remember for myself that yeah, it's like we just gotta make our way. Like we're all on our own time, and there's no rush. And like I can enjoy the time that I'm in right now, because there will be a time that I'm not in it anymore,
Yeah.
and it's so fleeting, and that's weird and sad. I'm getting sad about something that's not even over yet. But tell me about some of the stuff that you're working through now. So obviously you went to that conference. Obviously you said you were trying to write your Substack. What are the stuff that you're moving through?
Um, I think that I have lived my life too long trying to fly under the radar, trying to live in the shadows, trying to just like go unnoticed. But there's always been a part of me that thought that I had a voice to share with the world. Um, and what I'm working through is that I feel like this year is the first year in a long time that I've felt like I'm brave enough to put myself out there. Um, really trying to live in like my main character energy. Um, in
What
the
would
past
Manon
I
do?
had yes. In the past I've had these dreams and then I went to start working on them and then left them behind and it's always like haunting me that I didn't do that thing and now it kind of feels like it's not for me anymore, which is sad, but I really don't want to pick it up again. Um, so anyway, like this year, I really kind of got like a new dream, like talking about books, um, and trying to create a space where it's not just in my living room, it's like more out in the world. Um, and so I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm brave. I'm Man in Black Beak. I'm super cool. I'm like reading books and I'm really excited to like share myself. And it's like I keep feeling completely like misaligned um and frustrated because I'm like, I'm ready. And then it's like, I can't figure out what I want to share. And every time I think I have figured it out, like it doesn't feel right. And so I'm feeling a little bit impatient, I think. Um I think the answer might be in this exploratory creative artist self and doing those like activities like I don't know, painting and drawing and poetry and all these things that I'm interested in, but I feel the pressure to keep up an online presence. And I feel like even though I've made a bookstagram, I feel like art and content don't go together right now. And I'm trying to figure out how they can work together because creating content is exhausting. And it's like feels like I'm putting forth like a soundbite version of myself that skews towards like an inauthenticity because it's also attached with did this get likes? Did this get like cool? I'm not growing and all these things. And so I find that when I'm doing things for social media, it's like I'm creating out of a desire for validation, not because I am being grounded in my identity and like growing in who I'm supposed to be. I need to be spending more of my time and my energy into nurturing like my true identity rather than my like online identity. But I want my online identity to be me, but like it just doesn't feel like it. And when I think about like what can I create that would like be different, be unique, not be like everything else I see on my feed, which is also too like I'm everyone, not everyone, following or being followed by like it's just not my people fully. Um which is like a scary thing to say. But I don't mean that in an offensive way. I'm just like finding like I'm yelling and it's just like echoing, but like people that I would normally like be attracted to in friendship or in relationship, like I'm not finding them right now or I'm not like having the connection because it's social media, okay? It's not it's it can't be like the relationships you can foster in real life. And so I'm just feeling out of balance, wanting to be, wanting something greater, um, but not. I'm just feeling a massive disconnect, I guess, which can be really discouraging because it's like, no, I can't like get rid of this thing. Like I already did that with something else. Like I need to be continuing this. And so I know it just has to like change into something else. It's just like these stupid little fears of like, oh, well, my algorithm's going to get messed up or people are going to unfollow cuz they're not going to want to see my little poems or like just these stupid trivial things. And last thing I'll say is I spend so much time and energy thinking about what I'm going to post and what the results will be. And I'm not writing, and I'm not painting, and I'm not creating. I'm just sitting there frustrated. And then I get so overwhelmed that I just start scrolling. And it's so bad. It's
Mhm.
so bad. Um, so yeah, making art versus making content. I don't know I don't know if social media can ever be redeemed in a way that it feels like an art, like a way to share my artistic expression. I don't. So like, do I change like where I am? Trying to go on Substack, but again, I go on, I'm like, I can't think of anything to write. Nothing's coming through. Um, yeah. So I guess that's where I'm at.
Girl, I get it. I get it. I mean, luckily you're talking to like the girl that is literally rebranded like 1,000 fucking times on social media. And yeah, there's a whole stigma, right? Of from really coming from yourself because low key, no one else fucking cares. That's the
Yeah.
biggest thing. Like literally no one
Yeah.
else cares, but like
I know.
it's you care, right? Like you care, especially because of what you created in the past. I literally just shared a very similar thing where it's like because of the shit that happened in the past, I feel like it's really like bleeding into like what I'm trying to do right now, et cetera, et cetera. However, what I think is really interesting is that when we go through these moments, sometimes, like, especially like you were saying, like, I feel so much pressure and like the obligation and all of this stuff. And yeah, at the end of the day, like, social media is like meant to be like a create, like, not necessarily like a way to create, but it's a marketing platform. It's a social platform. It's a way to
Right.
connect with other people,
Yeah.
right? And so when we're going through those moments of like not knowing what the fuck we're doing and like not resonating with anything that we're seeing online or anything that like or creating anything, to me it's just like we got to pump the brakes. Like we have to pump the brakes and take like a massive step back. I mean, if anyone here follows me on my Instagram, the only thing I am posting on there is our reels. That is a co-collaboration with our podcast and monthly carousels. That's it.
Yeah.
Because for a while I was posting every single day around my business and posting to sell and writing to sell and all of this stuff. And when it no longer resonated, yeah, I didn't know what to post anymore and I didn't know what to do anymore. So I just took a giant step back. And now I'm slowly easing my way into posting things again and creating things again. And it feels really good, but I feel like I only knew what it felt like for it to feel good because I took that massive step back. And like, I don't think you should be afraid to change. Like, I mean, Jason always tells me, like, it's really good to know what it feels like to fail fast. And I'm like, I'm tired of failing fast. But like at the end of the day, for you, like this is really great because you started the thing. Now you know what it's like to start something and have it really cuz to me this is like a total different thing than what you started before. Like the
Mm,
energy of it feels really different. Like it feels like a lot more grounded and more solid and like it's not just you posting pictures of your coffee and like writing this giant thing. And I say that with like the utmost love and respect
yeah, yeah, yeah.
as your best friend. but
Yeah.
like, but it actually is like, to me, like really grounded and like, okay, this is what my voice is and this is what I want to talk about. However, now that we know, it's like, okay, well, I don't just want to post book reviews and I don't just want to be like every other book girly on this platform. Like, what else do I want to do? That's when you go and take a step back. Just like, for example, when you came back from the conference, you changed your scenery and you changed your environment, and it really changed stuff within you, right? Same thing when we had our book trip. When we went to Denver, we like came back. We were in the pits of despair when we went to Denver. And then we came back. And we were okay, like things are changing. Didn't happen right away. It took a little bit of time. But now look where we are. We have like we literally started a whole podcast and like me and our 4 listeners that are here with us right now, like, we're starting small, but it's really awesome. Like we're doing the thing that we're really passionate about. And
Yeah.
so like I want you to take your time to like truly let go. Your social media is always going to be there. You created it. So it's always going to be there. You can let it sit however long you want. I don't like, yes, everyone can say consistency, whatever. Consistency is great to a point. Not, you don't want to create consistency based off something that feels inauthentic because, yeah, you're going to have an entire algorithm of people, places, and things that don't actually feel authentic to you. And
Right, which
they don't feel like
sounds
you.
terrible. Yeah,
Yeah,
which
hate
is
it.
not the way.
Coming from a girl who literally like was posting pretty inauthentically for a minute, like it's not a great place to be. It gets old really quickly. And that's when people like burn out, right? And then like completely blow up and have to then like shut everything down. And I think for you, it's like, okay, you started the thing. You know that you have a voice. You know that you want to put yourself out there. And now it's just really understanding like maybe you're not putting it on Instagram. And maybe it's not Substack either, but maybe it's like, again, I mean, I've told you this before, but like maybe it's writing in your own way and you're doing voiceovers over like you, like pretty shots of you in your garden and like pretty shots of like, or like you taking like your favorite quotes. Like, I just feel like, or you doing your little paint by numbers and you're reading out loud. So it's your voice, something that
Yeah.
you wrote. And it's just a different way of like sharing who you are without it like being like, this is what I do. I'm the flourishing reader. I do book reviews. Cause like, yeah, you love talking about books. And I think that's what we're here to do, like talk about
Yeah.
books and talk about our writing and stuff. But like, you're not just a book reviewer.
Mhm.
Also, we've talked about, like, I think it can be pretty frustrating as a book reviewer in general, just because, like, then you see, like, other things people have reviewed and be like, "I cannot believe you rated that 5 stars."
I know. Sometimes I'm like, I am such a stuck up person because I'll be like, what? I don't trust you, and like judging hardcore through the screen at this person, and rather just being like, I'm gonna unfollow this person because I've seen multiple times that like we don't have the same taste in books. No big deal. Reading is subjective. Love what you love. I'm like, L. L David. Like,
Well, I think it's really easy to get in the comparison game too, because you're not only are you seeing
yes.
someone that with a very different opinion than you, but then they also have like the lights and the likes and the engagement and the count that you want. And so you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So like this person just rates every book 5 stars, I guess. And like, you know,
Right.
or says like the folks that like love to get the clout of like having like the most insane unpopular opinion about a very beloved book and like that's where they get
Right.
their clout too
Right.
compared to like you just sharing your authentic voice. And I think now that you've like, okay, now I'm talking about books and maybe this is the avenue that you talk about books in this space, but maybe there on your Instagram there's this other era that I think is like deeper than maybe you're maybe talking about books was at least your way of just starting to dip your toes in the water,
Mm.
right? And start
Mhm.
practicing what
Yeah.
it was like to start putting yourself out there and taking pictures of yourself and cuz like I mean even on your personal Instagram like I don't remember last time I've seen a picture of you and like anything. Granted,
Yeah.
I'm not the best at my own personal Instagram, low key. I'm like, I think I put on my bio on my personal Instagram at this point. I'm like, if you even love me and genuinely care about me, you would follow me on Megan and Bound
Yeah.
because I don't post on here.
I know. Every so often, I'm like, share to my personal, and I'm like, crickets. Cool. We still haven't noticed that I'm doing this other thing.
I'm
Gotcha.
like, yeah, I'm like, yo, like even like I'm I'm getting people like now following me on my. I'm like, oh, so you didn't love me. You don't actually care about me. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Well, I doubt that's true. Again, because no one actually cares,
Right.
right? No one
Right.
actually cares.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing that you have to remember. It's like you do have to create for you. And maybe it is taking a really giant step back from Instagram life so you can understand like what it is, what you do actually want to create and want to do.
Yeah. I think it comes back to the conversation about like divine timing too, and like stressing over timelines because part of my restlessness over this whole thing is again, like, feeling ready to share my voice, feeling more brave and confident to do that. Like, even with this podcast, like, being able to watch it and being like, "Hey, you can say that a little bit more confidently next time, self." Like, you don't have to give those disclaimers of like, "That might be stupid," or "Maybe not," or all the things that I do, which I probably did many times in this episode even. 'Cause that's what I do, and I'm trying to work on it, okay? But, um, just this, like, feeling of this readiness and feeling like I've spent so much time, so many years trying to figure it out. I'm constantly figuring it out. I'm constantly figuring it out and feeling like, "No, I had a thing and I was doing it, and now I have to step back and figure it out again." And so being afraid that more even though stepping back, like, is the way that we're actually gonna get somewhere, um, trusting that stepping back is going to lead to because you're right, if I do keep operating in the way I am because I think should do that or I should have, some sort of momentum, I'm gonna continue to build something that I don't like. And so, yeah, I think it's back to that like divine timing thing of trusting the voice within saying like, "Hey, this doesn't feel right. Like take a step back." Um, and really but also being disciplined, right? Disciplined enough to do the work and explore and create. And I mean, in a way that's all part of the creative process, right? So,
Period. But you
yeah.
said it perfectly. It is about trust. Like, you need to trust yourself enough that you already did the work of putting yourself out there already, right? Like, you know how to build a thing, you know how to do the thing. And now, like, you have to trust that, like, you will continue to figure it out because low key, we're always figuring it out. I don't think there's
Yeah.
ever going to be a time where we're not figuring it out. And I think, and I tell Jason this all the time, like, because I think it's very much a human experience thing of like constantly like searching for clarity and like craving clarity and like craving that like aha moment where like everything just comes together and it like makes sense. But a lot of the time, finding that aha moment and reaching that aha moment is doing the scary thing of taking a step back and doing the thing anyway, right? Like
Yeah.
taking that big risk of taking a step back, but like still taking action, right? The discipline of like, okay, like if we're not going to create in this way, how do we want to create and starting exploring those things elsewhere, right? And I know that's my biggest thing. It's like you can't wait for inspiration. That's why my biggest thing is like I write every morning. That's just what I do. And like because if I don't, then I get into my head and I'm like, "Oh wait, I'm not a writer at all. Like I don't even know what I'm writing." Instead of like getting out of my head and
Yeah.
just putting my hands on the keyboard and just letting myself see what comes through and letting it be very imperfect. But
Yeah.
I think I'm able to do that because it's not being posted on Instagram right now. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and I
Yeah.
think that's your thing. Like, you're so outward facing right now that you're not allowing yourself to just have an imperfect body of work because it's either being seen by Instagram or it's being seen by your Substack. And that's a lot of pressure, right?
Yeah. The Instagram actually just this week they did a new thing where when you're on it and you look at your feed of photos, and I know you can look at it in insights, but like now on your grid, it just shows you the numbers of like how many people have looked at each photo. It'll have like 96 because that's where I'm at. And sometimes it's 21, whereas people are on threads are like, "Oh my god, my one post only got 500 views." Meh. And I'm just like, "Wow." You started after me. It must be must be
And that's when we know we gotta take a knee and
E
head out of there. Also, that's so crazy
exactly.
to me because, I mean, for me, I always hide my like count. I don't, which I need you to start doing when we post on All Too Well Read. We gotta hide that like count because for me, I don't like even on my own personal stuff. Like I post my little selfie with my bangs.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing how many people liked it
Yeah.
because did I still neurotically check it? Yes, I did, obviously. Because I needed validation about my bangs. As I've asked Jason 1,000 times and Chris 1,000 times before we posted. So, what do we think of bangs? um, because it's a natural thing, but it's just like, really crazy to me because like they have that feature to hide your legs, but yet now you're seeing how many people have seen your stuff and now seen your stuff but chose not to like it, which I think is even worse, honestly.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I it's like, I don't wanna be this person who cares about this, like, this is not me too. Um, so yeah, it's so interesting how quickly social media can skew your perception of reality and what's important. Um, it's pretty scary, to be honest. And no matter how much you can give yourself pep talks about it and being like, "Stop," or like, I get off of it every weekend and I'm like, "I don't need this. Like, I don't even need to be on it, and I'm only gonna post like, I'm not gonna even post." And then like, "Haha, it's Tuesday and I'm in panic mode again." And I'm like, "What is happening? This is not the artsy self that I want to be."
and that's when
Um,
we gotta take a longer break. Get out of here.
so
Um,
I
because I
appreciate you.
agree. I've been there. I've
Yeah,
like I really have. Like to the point where like social media really became like because that was like it was my whole life like this time last year. Like my entire day was figuring out what I was posting on Instagram and like how I was gonna market this and what I was gonna do here and how I can get enough followers to start doing this. And oh my God, is this gonna be the post that like changes everything that like gets me? And it's like it's fucking exhausting.
yeah,
And, like, remember it's like, okay, like, this is just a place for, like, marketing, like, this is just a place for, like, connection with others, like, this isn't, like, this doesn't need to turn my work, especially when it comes to being an artist, and, meanwhile, it's so annoying because, like, now even when you do go to, like, traditionally published, for example, like, they want you to have a following, and they want you to have an audience and a market and all this stuff, and it's just, like, crazy, and, like, it's truly, like that's kinda, like, how you have to look at it. It's, like, we're just finding like, you wanna find your community of people, not necessarily, like, have your thing. Because but at the end of the day, it's, like, obviously, like, you have one video blow up and, like, yeah, your life does change, like, it does happen, like, people go viral and, like, shit blows up for them, and that's so amazing and that's so awesome, but, like, as I said, like, imagine having 100 people in your living room. That might not be a lot of followers in terms of follower count, but, like, having 100 people in your living room is a huge deal.
yeah,
100 people wouldn't fit in my living room, you know? And so, like, you really wanna find your people, and you wanna make sure you find the people that, like, are actually seeing you for who you are and not just, like, buying into because, like, yeah, I changed, like, I was a womb girl, I was a Akashic record girl, I was tarot girl was my original shot at it all. I was intuitive healer girl, and yeah, I had a lot of people follow me at one point and then unfollow me in others, and, now I'm going through my own iteration too where, yeah, people are unfollowing me, like, they're not they didn't follow me to talk about books, but I don't fucking care because that's what I wanna talk about now.
yeah,
So, like, once you find I think you're finally getting used to, like, putting yourself out there and, like, that does take time, and so for anyone
yeah,
listening that is also, like, it takes time to figure it out, and, it's really awesome that you've realized that, like, where you were going is actually not what you wanna do, but it doesn't mean that you need to change everything.
yeah,
It's just maybe changing the strategy of how you're going about it.
yeah. And I think, like, if you zoom out, like, which is one thing that I took away from the conference too, it's like, why, like, who decided that our goal is, like, to be great and to have huge followers and to be famous and to, like, what about being content? What if that's the goal? What if you were so rooted in your identity that you felt grounded and you felt like you were really honoring yourself with, like, every decision you made, you know? And what if you spent your weekends in the garden and you read books that you wanted to read and you know,
Not because they were trending, like,
right, and
100%.
or whatever it looks like for you, you know, I think there's a lot of joy to be found in the simple things. And so, as we talk about, like, being creative, again, like, we have to remember to create for us and not out of a sense of, like, being recognized. Um, because if that's the motivation, I don't think that honors our deepest selves at all.
Well, it really goes back to, like, I feel like what you said in the beginning of, like, looking at your life from that, like, heaven bird's eye view, right? When you are on your deathbed, are you going to be like, "Oh, thank God I reached 10K?"
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Ugh.
no.
No.
No, you're gonna really look back on, like, the people who loved you and that you loved and the experiences that you've had and the places that you've been and the life that you lived. Your everyday mundane fucking decisions, which is why, yeah, if you do wanna write the book, write the fucking book. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed, so, like, yeah, we wanna be living, not, like, scrolling on our stupid fucking phones all the time and, like, engaging with people that we don't really know and getting in crazy, weird, like, comment arguments with people, you know? Like, cause yeah, we were here to create. I believe everyone on this earth was here to create, and everyone has a story in them, and
Mhm.
everyone has a song in them, and everyone has a whatever medium of art you wanna have. You do have one. You obviously have more than one. But if we wanna start somewhere. So, you have one. Everyone does. And it's like, yeah, like, how do you wanna honor that? You know, because I also believe now that I'm in corporate America too, I'm like, "L life is more than just saying, 'Hey, you're on mute.' Uh, hey, happy Friday.' Like, literally kill me."
Yeah.
But at the same time, I understand, like, this is a 3D world and, like, this opportunity is giving me the growth and the abundance that I need to do all of this other shit that I wanna do. And
Yeah.
I'm so happy and I'm so grateful that I have this thing in my life that grounds me in that. It allows me to live. And I think as like even like the American culture, like we get really like lost in that. Like we're so bogged down by like having this like greater purpose and this passion and needing to be recognized for that thing because like our work has become our entire identity and it becomes our whole
Yeah.
life and like it's who we are instead of
Yeah.
yeah letting ourselves like I don't know live and be loved. Actually, I have this poem that I want to read.
Okay.
It's really cheesy. Actually, when I was working when I was working at my old company that was actually hella toxic, um, they had each of us they were like, "Bring a sentimental item," and my grandmother just passed, so I was like, "I'm not gonna bring the ring that she gave me," but I was still just, like, so emotional. But I have this, card that my dad actually, it's a card that he gave me for my college graduation, but he put a poem on the back of it, and I've had it on every single desk in my workplace that I ever had, and of course I brought it with me, and everyone was talking about their dead relatives, I was bawling I was the last one to go, so I was bawling my eyes out, but I'm like, "My dad's alive. I'm not crying because of that, I promise." Um, but I just think it, like, puts what we're talking about really beautifully, so I'm going to read it. "And did you get what you wanted from this life even so? I did. And what did you want? to call myself beloved, to feel myself beloved on the earth. It's a poem by Raymond Carver, um, called Late Fragment. And he actually wrote this when he found out that his wife was diagnosed with cancer and she was going to die, which then also sent me into my own little spiral. I was also incredibly sad. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it just perfectly encapsulates what life actually really is about, while it's also surrounded by all my other post-it notes that this is just a job. Your performance does not define you. You are capable and amazing. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. I literally, for the listeners, I'm holding up my post-it notes that literally have saying that it's just a job. But I don't know. I think sometimes that message gets lost in the world of
Yeah.
social media and wanting to be recognized. Because at the end of the day, I really think the drive comes from us wanting to be seen deeply,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Right. Wanting to be seen, wanting to be known, wanting someone to like, you know, validate and appreciate like your true self.
Well, that was a tangent I honestly didn't expect that we were gonna go
Me
on.
neither. Me neither. I'm even like, I'm sitting here really happy with the conversation, but I'm also like having like a come to Jesus moment too of just like, I hate that what I had to talk about the whole time was social media. And like, I hate that this whole month, everything that I've talked to you separate on the side has been about Instagram and like exhausting the same thing. And I'm like, it's just really interesting because like this has never been a problem for me. And it's a problem I don't wanna have. It's a problem that I'm feeling a little bit embarrassed about, but I'm trying to, like, give myself grace too, because it's like, "Okay, like, we've only been doing this though for, like, 2 months, so it's not like you're too far gone." Um, but yeah, I I think it's a good conversation. Um, and I'm just really appreciative of you. You've been very encouraging in just, like, gosh, like, our whole friendship, but, just, cheering me on and like really being a sounding board and also somehow always having all of the wisdom to talk about these things. I feel very grateful. Um, yeah. So,
You don't have to be embarrassed. I wanna, like, nip that.
yeah.
I also, when I was editing our Iron Flame episode, I got so upset that I didn't, because I just didn't even realize it in the moment. But when you were talking about, you're like, "Oh my god, Violet could never be the woman," because, like, after her run-in with, like, Kat and all of that, like, I'd be, like, crying, cowering in the corner, so insecure. Like, "No!" 'Cause I would be there and be like, "Absolutely fucking not. You don't have to be embarrassed." Like, this is actually, unfortunately, in the world that we live in, actually a
Yeah,
very common thing that I think a lot of people move through
I think
when
so.
they are starting something new, and, like, when social media is, like, low key, but also high key. One of the one ways that, like, any Joe Schmo on the whole world can get recognized by a huge audience. Like,
Yeah, it feels like the only way, which can't be true. It can't be true, but it feels like it's the only way to be like, "See me." Like, I wanna be seen, and I'm ready to be seen. See me. You know?
and, like, a part of it is like, yeah, the reach is huge, but I think it's learning and coming about it from a place that actually feels authentic to you,
Yeah.
right? Like, creating the content that, like, feels like, I don't know, like, I love following painters on Instagram. I love watching them. I mean, but even, like, live, like, when I'm at a music festival, I'm always like, Jason's, like, really embarrassed of me because, like, I'll literally just, like, stand there and, like, watch, and I'm like, "I can't believe you can take something," because, like, artists and, like, painting artists or drawing illustrators, all the words that you can have for, like, someone that's creating something out of literally nothing, and I realize with words, obviously, it's a blank page, whatever. I just find it to be different. There is something so beautiful and magnificent and incredible about, like, seeing, like, a literal blank canvas and then layering all of this stuff and, like, making it into some it's like some it's literally it blows my mind every time, and he's so embarrassed 'cause I'm, like, just, like, talking out loud, and he's like, "They're right there." I'm like, "I don't care." I'm sure that, like, they hopefully feel the same way because I'm, like, in awe every single time I see something like that. And, like, I love and, like, I'm so happy that I get to watch them on social media voice over their inspiration behind it and what they were doing and watching them go from, like, "Yeah, this is, like, random green stuff that I put on there," to then, like, having it be, like, the most beautiful, magical, incredible thing that's ever graced a canvas. And, like, I think there's a way that you can showcase your art and your voice in a way that feels magical and authentic and so uniquely you, right? And I think it's fine. It's riding that line.
Yeah.
It's riding that line. I'm still trying to find that line. I haven't. I haven't posted anything about my own art or my own work in months. It's been months. I know eventually I'm gonna have to market the book. I'm like, okay. But, like, when it's come to my own writing and stuff, I haven't done anything. I mean, I have my astrology newsletter, which has been talk about alignment,
Yeah, talk about that.
talk about alignment. So, just so everyone knows, I've had a newsletter for a pretty long time, and, I used to obviously, that's how I would, like, sell my when I was doing, like, my healing containers or my one-on-one stuff, and, just, like, write letters and, like, talk to my audience and stuff like that. However, dude, I hate this. I hate this so much. It's bothering me.
A wise
Ugh,
woman once said, "Nobody cares. They're not paying attention."
no, as I'm like, I can't help but look at myself and wonder what the fuck's going on with my bangs. Anyway, point being is as we've described, there's very much that era of like posting things into the void and especially posting things that we would consider like art into the void and just having it be crickets. And that used to be very much my newsletters. Like I would put a lot of work and time and be like, oh, I have to write this newsletter, blah, blah, blah. Recently, I changed my newsletter vibe. And instead of obviously writing to sell anything, 'cause I'm not selling anything right now, I changed it to an astrology forecast. So every month I write about the upcoming astrology for the month and some of the important transits, not all of them, but the important ones. And I like to describe my view of astrology in a very like human way. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to actually know what I'm talking about. But I feel like I try to write it in a way that's very, very approachable and that anyone can understand and take some of these tools and practices and apply them. And ever since I changed it, and now it's like it's a once a month thing. I'm not doing it every week. It's not bi-weekly or anything crazy. It's once a month. I take my Sunday and I pour myself into writing my little thing and I pick my gifts because I love my little gifts that I put with every single transit. And it's become really fun. And I've never had so much positive feedback on a newsletter ever. I've now done it twice. I've gotten feedback every single time that I haven't expected before. And, like, it's just so incredible, and I'm like, "Oh, this is what alignment feels like." Like,
Mm.
"Oh, okay." Like, I was doing something for so long, felt like I was, like, shouting into the void, like, being, like, feeling like I was, like, shaking the internet, like, "Please, like, see me, like, I know other people are doing what I'm doing, like, why isn't it working for me?" And now that I feel like I found something meanwhile, like, astrology is my roots, which is so funny because that's how I actually originally started in all of this. I would get together with my friends once a month and I would go over the current season and as a group of as just like my little friend group and going over everything and now I feel like I brought that energy into this letter and it's been so amazing and it's been so fun and I'm like, oh, okay, this is what alignment feels like. And yeah, maybe it's like, again, not on Instagram, right? But like, it's something where I still feel like I'm engaging with my people that love me. Cause that's the thing about a newsletter. Like, people that are subscribing to your newsletter, like, love you. Like, they actually want to hear from you. They genuinely, like, they want you in your inbox. And so I feel like I'm like connecting with like those people in that way. And it's been so lovely. And so it's like, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It takes time, but it's just like, let yourself take your time and see, like, what works, and, like, yeah, a lot of the time with art, it's like, yeah, we're gonna throw shit at the wall and just see what sticks, but also, like, not only just, like, what sticks for everyone else, but, like, what sticks for you and what feels
Yeah.
the most authentic for you, and that takes a little bit of experimenting.
You can't also, like, wait. You have to experiment, and so even if we're constantly, like, changing our vibe or changing our brand or whatever it is, I don't that's not a failure. It's us experimenting and, like, trying to figure out who we are. Because I feel like for me, a lot of it too is I can get, like, really paralyzed with things, like, I need to figure everything out, and I need to execute it perfectly, and then present it to the world. And so I think one thing that I can be proud of both of us for doing is that we're doing we're doing stuff. We're putting ourselves out there. We're trying is, "Oh, I did this. Did this feel aligned? Did this not feel aligned? Okay, what do I need to change?" Rather than being like, "Okay, I'm gonna wait until this thing that I'm making is, like, so perfect and so inspired and so authentic that," and then we never do it, or we never make moves, and we just, like, and that I don't wanna be that person anymore because 'cause I've been her for a really long time. So, I think, you know, if you are in a space where you're just waiting for perfection, like, I would just say to, like, be brave to, like, try new things and see what things fit and what things, like, don't fit, um, and know that it's not a failure to try something and decide that it's not it.
Period, because at the end of the day, perfection is going to kill you.
Yeah.
Like, perfection is gonna kill you, it's gonna kill your art, and it's gonna kill your soul. Like, because at least, because again, on that deathbed, when we have, like, I like to describe, actually how I like to describe manifesting generators for my human design girlies. But I think we can all say that, like, say we all have this quilt that maybe our, like, grandchildren give us. And on this quilt, it's all, like, the different, like, patches of your life. Like, do you want, like, 3? Like, no, that's not even a whole quilt. So, like, there's no, it's like 1 row maybe, if that, right? Like, at least we can say when we go that we did the damn thing,
Yeah.
and maybe we felt a little cringy, maybe we felt a little bit embarrassed in the process, and maybe, like, it didn't always work out the way that we wanted it to, and maybe this, and maybe, like, it'll, right? All that stupid shit, but at the end of the day, like, at least you owed it to yourself that you actually did the fucking thing. At least I wrote the fucking book, right? Like, at least I started the business. At least you started your platform. At least you started and you're doing the damn thing.
Mhm.
This shit just, like, takes time,
Yeah.
And, like, I'd rather be the girl that, like, did the thing than be sitting at home not
Right.
even, like, trying to do anything, right?
Yeah. The art from the bird's eye view,
Yeah.
It's a whole
Like,
whole thing.
fuck it. Fuck it. You know? I
Mhm.
got bangs. I can do anything.
Get bangs, get tattoos. It's the moral of the
Get
story.
bangs. Get tattoos. Dye your hair a fun color, okay? Like, at the end of the day, that's our message here.
Yeah.
Get bangs, get the tattoo. Okay. Have 0.5 seconds to decide if it's actually what you want. Just kidding. Don't, I never want to wish that onto anybody. But sometimes it works out. And so give yourself a chance for it to work out. You know? I don't know. I love it.
Yeah.
I feel like this is our episode.
I think
How do you
I
feel?
think so. I think so.
This is our epi. I hope you enjoyed it. I literally showed up in my little, this is actually my new pajamas that I got from American Eagle, believe it or not. I'm going
What?
back to like, I was 16 years old, but they're so cute. Long sleeve shirt with shorts, matching set. They're adorable. I've been wearing them every day and I love them, even though, yes, it is still sunny outside. I'm treating it like the evening. But I hope you guys liked this episode. Next one, you'll find us doing Onyx Storm. I'm like almost 30 chapters in. I'm loving it.
Nice.
Chris, luckily, she's been speeding along. I finally caught up. Um, she's been waiting on me. So I finally caught up this weekend and we need to do some hardcore reading.
Yeah, we
we,
usually do.
we need to do some hardcore reading these next weeks, but I will say, not without saying anything, that I'm really enjoying it.
Me too. I am as
Very different vibe than Iron Flame in a good
well.
way, at least in
Totally.
our opinion. I realize that might not be a total popular opinion. And who knows, maybe next time when I come back on here, I'll know how to actually style my bangs. So I don't play with them the entire time. But I am proud of myself. I feel like I didn't play with them as much as I thought I was going to. So
That's good.
a win's a win. A win's
It
a
is a
win.
win.
Until next time, obviously, you can follow us on All Too Well Read Pod on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube, subscribe to wherever you read, listen to podcasts, like, subscribe, leave us a rating, send us to your friends, leave a comment, you know, all the things.
All that good stuff. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. And we hope that y'all had something that you could take away from this episode as Megan and I process our creative journeys and where we're at. And yeah, that you don't feel alone, that there's other people out there trying to figure it out too. And yeah, hope you're encouraged by this episode. And I know I was. So I'm really excited for what's to come. And now I have things in recording to keep myself accountable.
We love keeping ourselves accountable.
Love accountability, discipline.
Woo, something I really need to work on myself. Discipline. Because you know what? Discipline, I feel like, really is the road to freedom, is like actually being disciplined with yourself and your time.
Yeah.
That's an episode for another day. But love you guys so much. See
Thanks
y'all
for joining
soon.
us. Bye.
Bye.